Morena tātou. Kia ora e te whānau. Welcome to the Infrastructure and Transport Committee meeting 9th of November 2023 and the last one for the year. Whoop whoop!
Why are you saying whoop whoop?
Because I'm excited.
I'm Harbour.
Oh, sorry, Councillor. Oh, all right, sorry about that. All right, I have arranged with Mangai Hill to do our karakia to kick us off this morning. Yes, that was you, yes.
Okay. Kia ora, morena tātou, me noi tātou, tui ai runga, tui ai raro, tui ai roto, tui ai waho, tui ai ngā kaimahi o te kainahira o Kirikiriro. Whaia te iti kahurangi, kia u, kia mau, kia ita, haumi e hui e, tāiki.
Ora, that was, do you expect us learning today to match that speed? Not happening. Kia ora, Mangai, thank you very much for that. Right, we have apologies, Councillor Donovan. He knew there was ginger crunch in the tea room, that's why. Apologies for absent.
Could you try again?
From Councillor Pike, Councillor Wilson and Councillor Huaki for council business. Partial, so I'm assuming for lateness for Councillor, early departure from Councillor Naidu-Rolfe, and I would think lateness from Mayor Southgate. So are there any other apologies? It looks like with that we may teeter on quorum, so let's get through the business of this committee swift and effective today. So I'll move that those apologies. Thank you, Councillor Van Oosten. All those in favour say aye. Aye. There are none opposed. Thank you, and welcome to Councillor Thompson, who is online. Right, confirmation of the agenda. Committee members, you have your run sheet in front of you. There are no changes, so I will move that the agenda be received. Seconded. Thank you, Councillor Van Oosten. All those in favour say aye. Aye. There are none against. That's carried. Thank you. Any declarations of interest? There are none. Public forum? There is none. This is the speed with which I like. Right, first item is item 5, confirmation of the minutes of this committee, 21 September 2023. I can confirm that those are a true and accurate record. Is that moved by Councillor Hutt, seconded by Councillor Van Oosten? All those in favour? There are none against. Carried. Thank you. Whip, whip, whip. Chair's report. Oopsie. Item 6 on page, or the substantive reports on page 18. Just briefly, very briefly to that, I just wanted to thank the committee for a passionate year. We've made a lot of decisions. We win some, we lose some. That's how it goes, but I want to thank all the members for their collegial debate and robust discussion and questions. That is the role of this committee and of governance. I have made a note there around the new coalition government. I was hoping that that would happen today, actually. That would have been quite good. Obviously, we don't know what a $24 billion Transport for the Future plan might look like with obviously ACTA New Zealand First joining that coalition. So we wait to see. I have indicated there that obviously there will be a shift as we move from a centre-left government to a centre-right government, but we will deal with that as it happens, and we will roll with it as well, because again, that is what good governance is all about. I was so lucky to go out with Andrew and Mairi to the Western Bulk Main erosion project, and that was, it's always fun putting on my steel cap boots with the pink laces and some other PPE gear, and it was fantastic. And I've spoken to Andrew, and we are going to try and include just those who are interested to see more of that stuff, because I'm driven by tangible results, and sometimes we get so locked in this chamber making decisions on paper that we don't get to see the significance of these things. And when I mentioned in there about the comment around you know, I was amazed at some of the really simple solutions to the size of the rocks that are being placed and also to protect the gully that was there. They used hay bales and some fabric. So, you know, some of the simple solutions to a significant problem. So that was quite exciting. I also said in my report, thank you to the members of the public that go through this with us, and I know that many of them will be watching online this morning, including my mother, who watches absolutely everything. But I really wanted to shout out and acknowledge those members of the public. Sometimes they come and they speak, sometimes they watch online, sometimes they email us, and we do have some frequent flyers, and I appreciate them, and I know that the committee appreciates them. So thank you to them, and they can also take a break for Christmas. The last thing I want to mention, I was kind of almost hoping that I didn't have to. She's giving me mixed signals. So now I have to say something, and I hope I don't get, damn it, emotional. I knew that would happen. It's Eva-Lisa's last committee today. It's not her last day, so she's, damn you, she's going to be here for a while. But she's going to say something when she presents the activity report. Oh, Max, could you have done this for me? I get very attached to some of our people. Shit. She's been here a really long time, and she is such a core part of the team. Her experience, and some of you actually don't know this, she's actually, a zoologist? So she's used to dealing with animals, and in the transport and infrastructure, can I have a tissue? Thank you. In the transport and infrastructure space, you deal with a lot of animals, right? Good and bad, wild and tame. Why I'm upset is because I wasn't quite prepared, because she told me not to say anything in public. But she's been such a pillar of strength for me as chair over 6 years, yeah, and for this organisation. And she'll fill you in on the reasons she is moving on, and it's a significant thing for her, a decision that she's made. But I just want to say, I haven't got flowers or anything, because Maxine and I are going to treat you to a fabulous lunch, and that's going to be our official thank you, which I won't cry at that. But you have been the backbone of this committee, and I can't even look at her, and the support for me, and I thank you, and I wish you well. Damn it. And I accuse you for making me say something. Right. Any comment on my chair's report? Please don't comment on the fact that I'm blubbering. Councillor Van Oosten. Oh.
Thank you, Chair Angela. Can't let my first year as your deputy go without acknowledging the great leadership that you provide to this committee through some of the very toughest of debates, where we have been at the farthest ends, and you've brought us together to make really great decisions that serve our city very well. So I thank you for that year's worth of learning, and look forward to 2024 with some different leadership around from the staff. And again, to Eva-Lisa, another thank you for helping me to understand some of the complexity that sits in behind this role. It's not easy as a lay person coming in with all the technical stuff that we have to grapple with and understand, but you're able to put it in the simplest way for me to, in my simple mind, to understand. So thank you for that, and I wish you well in your journey forward as well. And it might not include the council, but certainly you're one of our residents, and you know, we'll you won't be going away. So kia ora and thank you. Thanks very much. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor. Mangai Hill.
Madam Chair, if I can just stand in. Me mehi whatika kia koe, Eva-Lisa, mai ngā aroha o te iwi, me ngā mana whenua o Ngāti Warere, Ngāti Mahanga, Ngāti Koriki Kākura, o Tira, Ngāti Hawa, mea i ka tika kia koe, kia mahi ngā mahi ai paanga mo te taiao, o tira ngā mea hanga, ara ngā mea infrastructure, kai konei, tētai o ngā pau mo tātai, no reira, ka pū te ruha, ka hao te rangatai. So just on behalf of Mana Whenua and Waikato Tānui, just want to acknowledge your leadership in advancing all those great kaupapa pertaining to our taiao and infrastructure. So on behalf of Mana Whenua, acknowledge you. There's a saying, ka pū te ruha, ka hao te rangatai, when one net withers, a new net comes forth. So acknowledge your succession planning leadership in terms of your pathway in life. So on behalf of Mana Whenua, tēnei te miti ana koe.
All right, so with that, I will move my Chair's report, seconded by Councillor Van Austin. All those in favour? There are none against. That's carried. Thank you. I'll get her back for that at some point. Right, item 7, waste management and minimisation strategy review. Now, this is kind of a round off of this piece of work and a process. I just wanted to thank this committee delegated to a small group of elected members to review the plan with staff. We've done that work, it's finished, that working group is over, and that's absolutely how a working group, I think, Mayor Southgate, how she intended it to be. And one of the things that I thought worked really well, actually, was that I said to Tanya right at the beginning, don't give us any pre-reading. As elected members, I was really appreciative of the fact that how much we read anyway. So we went every time with fresh eyes and we had excellent discussions. So my heartfelt thanks to Councillors Thompson, Bidder, Casey Cox and Huaki, and also for for Mayor Southgate, who attended when she could. Thank you so much for your valuable insights and in delivering this draft plan. And of course, thanks to staff who put up with us pushing them on plain English in particular. Remember, I see Councillor Thompson smiling on that one. And now we're about to send this out to the public. So, but before we do that, obviously I will hand over to Tanya.
Thank you, Chair Angela. Morena tātou, I'm Tania Herman. I'm the Unit Director of Sustainable Resource Recovery. So I'll take the report as read, but I would too like to thank the working group for their support of us pulling this document together. It's the revision of our 2018 waste management and minimisation plans. So like I said, I'll take it as read, and we're looking for consultation to happen in the 23rd of January to the 23rd of February 2024.
Your questions, Councillor Donovan.
Mine's just a, thank you Deputy Mayor and Chair Angela, mine's just a typo, page 22, point 14, unless we've developed the art of time travel, I think that should say March 2023.
Oh, yes, you're correct. We'll get that corrected.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Mangai Hill?
Okay, just on page 25, just want to acknowledge the cultural points, and it's often referenced in many documents, engagement with Mana Whenua, but there's very little detail in terms of some of the key points that get raised from those particular meetings with Mana Whenua and Waikato Tānui. Is there any key highlights or key discussion points from engagement with Mana Whenua that reaffirm that Te Ao Māori perspectives that you've acknowledged,
Yep, sure.
but
So,
not defined?
yes, so we engaged with Parekore to help us with early engagement, and we'll continue to do so as we go out for formal consultation. Some of the key points that were raised was, I guess, the way we engage with Māori and iwi, and to bring their perspective back into the document, which we've reflected throughout the language and throughout the activities. There were some early discussions around how households can manage their waste effectively and their recycling. And essentially that's all I can really think of off the top of my head, Mangai.
For that, my thinking was around like papakainga and or kura kaupapa Māori and or koanga reo and other sort of cultural gatherings or facilities marae,
Yes.
and how they apply also. So those are the key
Yes, and we can
points of definition that I was...
Definitely, and we have got that reflected throughout the main strategy. So, and I can make sure we reflect that in our future reports coming back. That specific feedback.
Just some key little points so that we get into a little bit of detail.
Sure.
Thank you. Kia ora.
Great, thank you. All right, so that's all the questions. I would like to move this one. A member of the working group like to second it? Thank you, Councillor Vitta. Look, I think with this one, this is sort of the business as usual stuff that we do, as well as being legislatively required to do it. But for me, simplicity is the height of sophistication, and I think the three, in particular the three outcomes that we're seeking are very simple. They're easy to understand, and I think that it will mean that our city will continue to do its bit in addressing waste. I think that of course, still the ultimate goal remains that the first step must be the generation of less waste, and that is a mammoth a mammoth problem to tackle, and we're still not there yet, and that's not, excuse me, just for our city to tackle. I also think we need to continue really robustly with education, and when we first got the statistics around the data of materials over the last 5 years, that data tells us that residents are still using nearly half of their waste bins for organic waste. So we've got to move that dial. And the bane of my existence, soft plastic, my car boot is full of soft plastics right now. I can't put anything else in there. And in the waste, the data said that we are still putting in 14% into our rubbish bins of soft plastic. So education is a massive dial that still has to be moved. We need to keep the pressure on as an organisation to central government to keep reducing waste. But I'm really comfortable that we've done a good job here. And if we haven't, the next step is we go out to the public, and they will pick through it and tell us anyway. And I really look forward to some of the organisations in our city that work really hard on waste to give us their expert feedback as well. So that's my little kōrero. Councillor Bitter is the seconder. Did you wish to say a few words?
I think you've said it all.
Great, thank you so much. All right, there doesn't seem to be any other debate, so I'll put that to the voices. All those in favour say aye. Aye. There are none against. That's carried. Thank you. Okay, item 8, structure plan approach for Rototuna Town Centre. Morena, Jonathan. Thank you. Now we're on committee members. We're on page 173. So, Jonathan, hand over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. As you're aware, we've hit some hurdles with compliance with the National Policy Statement for fresh water. We better understand these hurdles now. So this report is looking at how we work with the landowners and work with the best outcome and decide whether or not this traffic bypass is the best approach. I'll take the report as read.
Thank you. All right, open up for any questions. Councillor Naidu-Roll.
Thank you. Thanks, Jonathan. So you're recommending option 2, which is go back to the owners and have a chat. Is there a timeline for that option? Like, are we talking years away or?
So we took paper to the Strategic Growth and District Plan. We're going to develop an MOU. It is probably going to be quite a while. They will obviously need to develop as well, and we want to structure plan this properly. So, yeah, at this stage, we've got it in the LTP discussion in year 3. So that is where, if this road is needed, that is where we're looking at. Yeah.
And I guess what I'm trying to work out is, so it's in the LTP, as you said, the extra 3-point-something million.
Yep.
At which point will we know whether that is the cheapest option?
I guess the cheapest
Do you know
option.
what I mean? Like,
yeah,
is it
yeah.
with the discussions that's still to be had?
Yep.
Could the price obviously grow quite substantially? So.
Yeah. Potentially with the structure plan, though, we might not need this road, so then we won't need the road. Yeah.
That makes sense. Thank you. And just one more thing, and I'm not sure whether it would be through this committee or the other one.
Yep.
Previously, when it came to the library, the community hub space, there was a working group set up with elected members to go through that finer detail. Would that be planned again for this exercise, or would it just come back to committee?
I'm unsure how the district plan, structure plan, MOU will structure, so I'm not too sure.
All right.
Yep.
Okay.
Could I just make a comment? there, Chair. So it's probably an LPT comment. So with this churn going on, we've put into the LTP in year 3 to give us that time to work through it, but we put in the option that we do need the road and we do need it in this place. We've got to face up to the extra mitigation, etc. So that $3 million is in there. But as JB says, there is a potential that we'll come up with a different structure plan which might cost us less. I don't think it's going to cost us any more than that.
Okay.
But we would come back through annual plan opportunities
All right.
to deal with the costing. So they're your decisions as LTP, but our advocacy is to leave that cost to do this option in there in case that what happened.
Yeah.
And there will be engagement through strategic growth on a new structure plan, and clearly through infrastructure when we're getting to design the road. We'll come back in our normal macro scope type discussions with you.
Awesome. And last question, just from the community angle, how will this be communicated out to the community, and what are the short-term impacts while we wait to work this through, the impact on the community?
Yeah, so while we've been upgrading the village, the North City Road has been closed for about a year. So when we reopen it, once we finish it, there is going to be an alteration, but they've been without this infrastructure already, I guess, and the library has been open and it's had 100,000 visitors. So the community has been utilising this infrastructure without the full infrastructure we've offered and without the...
So they'll know that it's been delayed.
Yeah, we will let them know, yeah.
Yeah, if I jump in there, we'll pick up that point and make sure we have a really good communication around that about a why and the options, I think. Yep.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, there are no further questions. Thank you, Jonathan. So I'll move that unless anybody is burning to. No? It's on page 173, seconded by Councillor Hutt. Thank you. I don't need to debate on this. It's all very clear. Anyone else debate? No? All right, we'll put that to the vote on the voices. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. There are none opposed. That's carried. Great, thank you. Okay, item 9, page 181. Now, this is the Transport Centre rejuvenation, and we will have Martin Parks come down. Committee members, just for transparency here, I am moving the staff recommendation, which is option B for online viewers. That is the rescoped version, keeping with the approved budget of 8.3, and that's going to be seconded by Councillor Hutt. So please let me know if all the options are on. Other options are on page 185. If you can indicate early if there's something else that you want to move. So we'll hand over to you first, Martin. Thank you.
Kia ora. Yeah, I won't say too much about the report. I think it's all in there. It's pretty obvious. The original scope is now, financially not sustainable. So looking for some direction from this committee about the way forward. What I would add is that with option B, we have got subsidy from Waka Kotahi and support for option B, but that's only for this current financial year. So we'll be looking to do the work and wrap it up by the 30th of June. That does obviously have an impact on the draft LTP, because obviously there's a line item in the draft LTP for this currently sitting there, but we'd like to do the work this financial year and take advantage of that subsidised opportunity from Waka Kotahi. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Martin. So that would mean that HCC's share is around 4 million for the project. Yeah. Great, thank you. Okay, let's open up for any questions. The report's quite clear, as you said, Martin. Councillor Donovan.
Oh, I just have a quick question, and it was in relation to the safety improvements. Was any consideration given to, adding more light for at night time and stuff like that?
Yes,
Yep.
is the answer to that. We will look at all the lighting levels through there.
Yep.
There's definitely opportunity to improve lighting throughout the whole, not just within the building, but externally as well.
Yeah, that's my I should have rephrased my question. It was to do with the external.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely be doing,
Yeah.
we'll do a full lighting assessment, but we'll ensure that that's improved, yep.
Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Bidder.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I just want to question bang for buck, really, in that the $8 million figure, we're not going to get all the scope that was originally proposed, and even with the subsidy, are we getting good value for that money? So, for instance, there's a lot of talk about passive surveillance for improving safety when experiences that that might help convict someone after the crime, but it doesn't help prevent the crime. So can you talk more about, are we getting good value out of this? What items are you selecting to go forward with, and what are you cutting out of that scope?
Through the chair, I suppose the biggest thing we're cutting out of the original scope is that they're fully enclosed waiting area. That those stops that are currently exposed, where people wait for their buses. So that's the big ticket item that was in that original scope that we won't be able to deliver that fully weather protected area.
Yep.
Everything else we'll try and deliver. I mean, the biggest issue there is safety, personal safety. We hear of incidents happening there on a fairly regular basis. There was a robbery there, 20th of October, where the ticket office was targeted and money was taken, and obviously staff were traumatised through that process. So that's the sort of stuff we're trying to manage. There's a great opportunity to improve CCTV throughout the whole building and externally as well. We've been working with the CitySafe team on those opportunities, and there's some significant opportunities to improve that surveillance. So that's one of the key things, that personal safety is really, really key. Through improved lighting, surveillance, reducing clutter within the transport centre itself, and improving access, and then improving road safety on the external area of the building, which can be a significant problem with the number of people that are gathering there.
So do you look at this budget as a capped budget, and you'll try and do as much as you can up to that limit and then no more?
That's correct. Yeah, we're following the decision this morning. If you go for option B, we'll go away and we'll fully cost up everything we want to do. Whether that will come below $8 million or go above it, we don't know yet. But that will be 8 million or whatever it is, 8.3 million, I think was got in the report, will be the cap. I mean, that's basically, Whakatae have said they'll provide 51% of that funding.
Yep. So they're still committed to it?
Yes, they are. They're committed for this current financial year. No guarantees if the project goes into next financial year.
Right. So can you just prioritise all the particular sub-projects, and then, so if you're looking at going over budget, you just cut off the lowest priority?
Yeah, I mean, there will be some level of prioritisation, but what we will do going forward is report regularly back to this committee of where things are within the activity report, just to let you know how the project's going, where the costings are sitting, and what we are intending to take forward. So full transparency for the committee, yeah.
Right. Okay, I'm comfortable with that, yeah.
Councillor, just for committee's awareness as well, this has gone through Access Hamilton several times, and where we have delved into the detail, which is appropriate for working groups. So that will also be a touchstone for the project moving forward. Mangai Hill.
Tēnā tātou, this might be a question for Jared, but in support of option 2 also. Just in regards to clause 38, the cultural elements, mana whenua o tangata whenua, can you just elaborate on what are some of the cultural elements that you're going to build into the project?
Yep, kia ora Norm, and for those who don't know me, Jared Hatwell, I'm Project Manager. So we've had 2 wānanga days with the tangata whenua of the area, and so we do have currently a high level ideas, and where the project stopped, we were basically about to engage the designers from Tangata Whenua to then come up with some ideas. So obviously we will then re-engage that should it be chosen to proceed with option B.
Thank you. Councillor Thompson.
Thanks, Chair. Martin, I was just wondering, in terms of safety, I understand that CitySafe, there's a couple of CitySafe officers kind of stationed at the Transport Centre part-time. Do you know, have you looked into whether there's benefit to increasing that, reallocating some of our CitySafe resourcing and increasing the amount of time they're there, noting that Regional Council is paying for part of that?
Through the Chair, we're having those discussions with the CitySafe team about options as the project develops. Obviously, if we get certainty from a decision today, then we can start to firm up some of those opportunities for CitySafe and potentially New Zealand Police as well. So, yeah, those are ongoing discussions.
Just in terms, because I know you're looking at whether CitySafe actually are like sited there, but also having officers, you know, milling about or being available is a bit of a different thing again. So it's just because that's, I guess, you know, an allocation of their time. So I was just wondering whether that would be something we'd look at.
I think we'd have to go away and have those discussions and then just update you through this committee or Access Hamilton. I haven't got a firm answer on that at this stage.
Okay, thank you. I'd be grateful to have an action or something just noted on that, but that would be great. Thank you, Martin.
Thank you. Councillor Van Osten.
Thank you. And just while we're talking about that, do we have times that have been identified where these incidents have happened and could then tie together that CitySafe visibility at the site?
No, I haven't got any details of when the incidents occur, and I think, I mean, the robbery occurred that was an afternoon, so it was like 3:30, 3:40 in the afternoon. So pretty brazen, really, because there was a lot of people around. Yeah, look, I think they happen throughout the day or the early evening. That it just, yes, antisocial behaviour. There's a lot of stuff going on there.
Right.
Yeah.
CitySafe might have a better idea.
Yeah,
about
I think
about what those
Paul
times
Blumen's
might
probably
be.
got some details on that, so I can certainly have a chat with Paul and send something round.
Right. And then secondary to that, in the $8.3 million, you talked about the robbery. I know that there's the opportunity to be able to top up cards with, you know, just on the machines, like an ATM. Is that 8.3 including some of that kit?
I can answer that. So we've had discussions with Waikato Regional Council, and so they're looking at a national strategy around ticketing, and so it isn't included within the $8.3 million, but that's something that Regional Council are looking at currently.
Okay, yeah, great. Good to be able to bring in technology. Thanks.
All right, that looks like all the questions. So that's being moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Hutt. Just quickly, option B is presented in the staff recommendation, I think, is the way forward to address the safety concerns. And I know that Ms Southgate that's one of her priorities in terms of safety at the Transport Centre. And I just want to remind us all that actually since opening in 2001, the centre's had no major upgrade, and it is our major interchange for local citywide and regional bus services. So that kind of flies in the face of us and our priority of looking after what we've got. We know, right? We've got some really tough decisions ahead of us through the LTP, but this upgrade, badly needed upgrade, has been budgeted for 2 years. We are getting a 51% subsidy from Waka Kotahi. So if we want to look after what we've already got We need to make this investment. It won't get us through the next couple of decades. It might get us through a decade, but with a fast-growing city, a busy PT interchange will very quickly, with its upgrade, reach its capacity. So for me, the revised scope, the staff have done a great job. I think through questions, we have some assurity that it's capped. They know they won't be coming back to us and asking for more budget, so they will make it fit. I encourage all members to go to Councillor Hutt's Access Hamilton for the detail. So I think this is a practical and cost-effective solution for a key infrastructure asset that is desperately needed for an upgrade, and it is looking after what we've got. Thank you. I'll go to the seconder, Councillor Hutt.
Thank you. And I can certainly, as a regular user of the bus station, I can certainly say you can tell it's not been upgraded since 2001. But I want to acknowledge, I guess, some of the feelings from the community around this. There is a lot of frustration that the upgrades are not going to happen to the scope that many in the community would like. And I think a lot of that frustration comes from the way that members of our community have not been prioritised in the previous design of the space. And I mean this particularly from a disability perspective, from an older person perspective, not of myself, but from older people I've spoken to. But I really do want to thank staff for prioritising accessibility in the priorities that are going through in the revised scope. I think that is so critical and so important, and flows back into our disability action plan as well. So while I'm a little bit sad, I'm also really grateful for our staff and the way that they've prioritised things. And if there was any other possible change to make, there's like a big bus symbol, a big round bus symbol sign, and somehow since 2001 the bus has turned on and it's slightly upside down. Oops. And if that was at all possible to just like turn the bus up the right way, that would make me really happy. Thank you.
Councillor Bidder.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. We are spending the same money but not getting the value we expected. That's partly the nature of the times, partly an ambitious scope originally. So we've got to go into this looking for what is the best we can do for the money we've got. So I wouldn't consider the doing nothing option. I think there's improvements that do need to be made, and we have set aside $8 million to do what we can. I did consider whether we cut that to get just a few items that give us good bang for our buck. I think that there's a long list of priorities that need to happen, so I'm comfortable with option B. The critical thing is getting those priorities right. Safety is a number one priority. Not necessarily all the safety items are of the same consequence, so there still needs to be consideration with them. It's not carte blanche to go ahead with everything with safety in the title. Get the ones that have the most impact, because we've still got to fit in accessibility. And again, some of those are more important and some less important, because what we've got complies with the building rules. So we've got to be sure that we're getting good value for anything. Maintain what we've got is very high up on the priority list, so building maintenance can't be skimped on. Things like LED lighting, that has a reduced OPEX cost, so definitely want that to happen. But things like the cafe improvements, there would need to be a good business case that that's actually getting us a benefit. So I'm supporting option B.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Thompson.
Thanks, Chair. This was originally budgeted for this year in the current LTP, and then we pushed it out in the annual plan to avoid deferrals, but now it's come back. So yeah, I'm pleased to see that we're back on track with this. And I think it's a pragmatic approach with what's been put forward. So I'd like, and I would just like to note that the Comet and the Orbiter had record levels of patronage in the last report that we got through the Public Transport Subcommittee. And it's not only bounced back post-COVID, but we're now seeing the highest ever patronage levels, and the Meteor, I understand, is also seeing really good patronage increases. So yeah, with public transport usage actually on the rise, I think this is timely. So I'd like to thank staff for the work on this and look forward to seeing it progress. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Taylor.
Thanks, Chair. Look, I'm not going to support it. I want to, but I just don't support us spending this amount of money at this stage. I just think needs must. We've just got to push it out for a couple of years and make do. Totally understand safety issues, and but I think in the meantime we might have to lean on City Safe and the police. I think this LTP is going to be full of awful hard decisions like this, unpopular decisions, but I think we just need to make them this year. Sorry, I'd like to be going the other way, but I'm not going to support spending the money.
Thank you. Right, there's no other debate. I don't feel the need to have a right of reply, so we'll put that to the vote. Do that on the let's do that on the board to make it good for the team. So, Councillor Thompson online, if you can use your electronic hand, please. So we're voting on staff recommendation on page 181, which is to proceed with the upgrade.
Councillor Donovan, can you vote, please?
The motion is carried, noting Councillor Taylor dissenting.
Thank you. All right, item 10 on on page 188, and this is a new report. Now, there are a lot of attachments on here, but this is a Transport Strategic Matters report, and there's a couple of recommendations on page 181 as well. Who's coming up for this? Andrew, this is your one?
Certainly is. I'd like us to speak to the IAF matter in particular because there's some resolutions associated with that. But before we do that, happy to take questions on all aspects or other aspects of the report.
Okay, and this, I'm sure everyone's read the lengthy report, but this includes the water reservoir and the bridge. Yeah. Which we had a workshop recently, so it'd be great if we didn't delve into the detail of the colour of handrails and things like that. Councillor Taylor.
Thanks, Chair. And yes, conscious about the workshop that you mentioned. I have since done a bit of catching up with staff after that. Andrew, I just have a question about the bridge one in terms of, does the decision here today to push on, does that preclude any opportunity to get any outside funding to enhance the overall product that we're going to get?
I have a friend heading this way as we speak. Natasha.
Yeah.
So I suppose I'm interested in the timing.
Yeah.
And whether it's going to. Yeah. Anyway, I think I've asked the question.
Yeah, I think. Kia ora, good morning. In order to meet the requirements of the IA funding agreement, we would need to know what that is by March next year at the latest. So if we were looking at doing something different, it would need to be a commitment by March at the latest.
Wow. Okay. And when will March? When will we? When will we actually start engaging with this engagement that we're talking about here? And when will we start sort of finalising designs and all that sort of stuff?
So
presumably pretty soon. So we actually have to come up with a design by March. Is that what you were saying? Or
we need to confirm the location by March at the latest. At that point, we'll be putting the briefs to the teams that will be competing on the options. Yeah.
And a funding envelope at that stage as well. I mean, because it could be that we could get. Some corporate might come in and say, look, we want naming rights, we'll give you 10 million to make it an even better project.
That would determine the location somewhat if you're talking about a bigger bridge. If you're talking about a better connected one and we could land on the location, I think there may be some opportunity to do that a little bit later, but I'd have to confirm. I'm getting the nod from the back, so yeah, we could, in terms of improving the aesthetics and those sorts of things.
All right, okay.
And this is sorry, Councillor Hale, if I can, this is by no means the last time the elected members will have any look at final design and all of that.
Absolutely,
that aesthetics and function and form.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Bidder?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Can you tell us more about the design teams? That's the first I'd heard about it. So is there some sort of competition? What's the plans for that?
So I believe it was yesterday we actually put out to market the first step for people to compete on. So we're looking for contractor-led contractor and design teams to put forward their capabilities. They will then sort of go through a process where they'll be, eventually we'll end up with 2 teams that will compete with developing a design against each other. And we'll probably end up consenting both options because of the timeframes.
Right. Is there any requirement for those teams to use local designers?
So Council's procurement rules require, in amongst our broader outcomes, that we provide a degree of support for local organisations. So in terms of the way that we evaluate, we certainly provide an advantage for teams that have local organisations within them.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that looks like all the questions. Thanks for a great report. So on page 188, I will move, and can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Van Osten, thank you. Look, just briefly, a huge report, lots in here, but I have absolute confidence that the team will, in terms of the Active Modes Bridge, will keep us in the loop. And I think we all know of the difficult financial times we're in, so the balance between form and function needs to be carefully approached. And while we all might want the incredible fancy San Francisco Bridge or wherever that big thingy fancy bridge is, we need to be practical, and for me function is more important, and this is an Active Modes Bridge. So but there'll be plenty of opportunities, including, I'm assuming, through the detail through Access Hamilton as well. Councillor Van Osten.
Thank you. Yes, huge report and lots happening through this report. In terms of the Active Modes Bridge, something that the city has been long waiting. Great that there's some funding offered. It does mean, though, that we need to put our own money into it, but it will be a project of high interest. And so making that and putting our very best foot forward is going to be critical here. So I watch with interest as we work through the process, acknowledging, though, that this is the very first touch point of it it hitting a committee, but that the workshops around it have been really useful in being able to give us the information needed in order to push this project on to completion. Other matters in the report, I'm a member of the Regional Transport Committee as the alternate, and Angela couldn't make the last of those meetings. Some great decisions made at those meetings and great reporting, and an opportunity also to be able to hear from Waka Kotahi, no better than hearing it from the mouth of the officials who are tasked with delivering for our region. Also, Kiwi Rail, who run the Tahuia, and we all know of the problems and troubles that surrounded Tahuia through this year. But great news has come as it returns to its usual stations and has overcome the issues it has been faced with. Sorry about the overtime, if that's all right with you, Chair. But into 2024, some additional services, passenger ridership is right back to where it was, and increasing customer satisfaction on the use of the train. So I'd just like to express on behalf of Hamilton and the riders how valuable that is to us. Thank you.
Thanks, Chair. Look, I support this in terms of the bridge with a slightly heavy heart, because I think we've sort of got ourselves in a position where we're running out of time to create something sort of special. And I appreciate that the IAF mechanism has sort of been part of that. I do want to see this as an opportunity to, to get the best possible aesthetic result for Hamilton. It was always envisaged as something that could be iconic, that could set Hamilton apart. And I know in the last term, when I chaired the Central City and River Plan Advisory Group, I had several conversations with corporates who actually, one of whom wanted naming rights to chuck some money at it. And I guess I'm disappointed because I don't see any evidence politically that over the last full year that we've kind of advanced that at all, and so I'm disappointed there. But, I mean, talking to Brian Square at Chow Hill recently, he sort of described it quite nicely. He said, wouldn't it be nice to have something that is about the journey as well as just the destination? And so I still think, there's an opportunity, and I talked to the Mayor about it yesterday, and she was really supportive of us as a united front, not about me, but for the council, for the city, seeing if we could approach other possible funders to add to what we've got, not replace what we've got. Times are tough, so it's probably not as easy as it might have been 18 months ago or something, just financially. But, and I'm heartened that Councillor Bidder yesterday flicked me information about Parramatta Bridge in New South Wales, which is a comparable sort of price tag and really quite flash. And so there are opportunities still. And so I would like us to take an opportunity in the short time we've got to see if we can get any extra interest, which might just make this sort of once in a lifetime thing worthy of Hamilton and not something we're disappointed with. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Casey Cox.
Yeah, I just want to acknowledge support for the motion, but I guess I wanted to highlight also that this whole body of work very much connects to enabling infrastructure for affordable housing, and the Mayor at the Affordable Housing Conference last week presented actually on the IAF and our work in that space, and there's a lot of people watching to see whether we'll actually deliver affordable housing through this or not. There's nothing guaranteed in it, so these are some first steps off the block, I guess, in enabling this important infrastructure that hopefully will deliver affordability in our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Bidder.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. We were assured that this bridge would not be ugly, And I am confident that there is enough money in the budget to achieve something very nice, having seen the work of the Parramatta Bridge. But we still need to maximise value and benefit for Hamilton, and one of the benefits of iconic bridges is to show off what a local community can actually do. So I very much want local designers and local engineers to be involved in the project, and would find it very hard to consider a bid that was led by designers and engineers outside of Hamilton, because we wanted to show off that Hamilton has the skills to be world leading.
Thank you. Councillor Thompson.
Thanks, Chair, supporting this, and I just wanted to, raise the other issue around this, which is the connections to the bridge. What we definitely want to avoid is having a great bridge, whether it's not ugly or beautiful, however it turns out, but no one can really safely or easily get to it. So when we get to the LTP, we really need to make sure we've got the adequate funds in there to get those connections. Otherwise, it would not be a good outcome if we have a bridge that then isn't well used. It's got the potential to be really well used and a fantastic asset to the city, but we've got to connect to it. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor. Are there no further speakers? Thanks everyone for great debate, and I do want to support Councillor Thompson's last comments. It's super important. We don't want a bridge to nowhere. So thank you to the team. Right, let's vote on the show of hands. All those in favour? There are none opposed. That's carried. Thank you. Okay, we are moving on to item 11. This is the Infrastructure and Transport Operational Activity Report, and I invite Eva Lisa up to say a few words and to present her report. And I had emails from Councillor Thompson, Councillor Donovan and Councillor Casey Cox on some questions. So thank you for not diving into the depths of despair with thousands of questions on this one. So I'm expecting them to be concise and sharp because there's a lot in here. But firstly, my friend, over to you.
This is special. So kia ora everybody. I'll start first. And then move into the report, just taking it as read, noting there is a recommendation for noting around the changes to legislation for our waste service. But firstly, I just want to thank everybody, not only in this room, but across council and the community. So we've had a lot of engagement over the years, and for me and my decision, it hasn't been easy, but one that I'm really proud of because it is prioritising me and my family. I have elderly parents who won't be around for much longer, so that's, I'll just take a breath. That's my core decision, and one that I won't regret, because it would be one that I would regret if I didn't do it at this time. But in saying that, for me personally, I'm really thankful for the opportunities that I've had at Hamilton City Council. It's been a long time, 15 years, and I'm really proud of the work that this council does, not only for our city, but for our region. We offer many services for our region and nationally that are sight unseen, and they are Australasia's best, and so it's something that I will cherish but continue to keep a watchful eye over, because I know it's going to go even further. I leave my role with really many proud leadership moments, many driven from this committee chamber in response to things like COVID-19 service level changes and our joining of our Keep New Zealand Beautiful. So we won the Keep New Zealand Beautiful Award for Hamilton as the largest city in 2021. We won the Building Infrastructure New Zealand Supreme Award for a COVID-19 response for the Te Awa Cycleway remediation project. Extra special moment to employ 50 people displaced from roles, retrain them, and do it in a way that reflected our cultural environment, and also that those 50 people, 35 went on to full-time employment in our industry, but also the remainder went back to study because they were displaced from that also. And then the Local Government New Zealand Award for our rubbish and recycling service changed. So that was a very proud moment that I know our elected members collected that award on behalf of our council, and then another cyclone hit in the region. So, but for me, the reason why the city is so great is because of the people. I'll just take a breath. I'm extremely proud of our people who in this organisation deliver 24/7, 7 days a week, unfaltered. Phone calls go at 2, 3 a.m. in the morning, pipes break while the rest of the community sleeps. They don't know that crews have been fixing everything so that they can wake up in the morning to go to the toilet, have a shower, or even drive safely, or take their kids safely to school, drive safely to work. So to me, it's the biggest and proudest moment, and the core infrastructure team that is underneath me is one of the most skilled teams in this country, I believe, and we couldn't be under better guardianship in this city with the team that delivers these services, especially in responses to operational compliance challenges, customer responses, transport transformation, weather events, COVID-19, and level service changes. And that is on top of just delivering our 24/7 business as usual responses. So having been part of that team, the infrastructure team in this organisation for 15 years, but leading it for 5, is one that I will absolutely cherish for the rest of my working career, but also for me personally. So finally, just want to say thank you to all the elected members in this room, and also past elected members, because there have been a few with some fond memories. Some I won't miss texts from, but the contact is always appreciated, because I know the intent of the text is always to keep our community safe, and I know that people in this room, it's always been about the issue rather than the person. As we've been in this chamber, it's about delivering the best for the community and understanding everybody has views. So I'm been privileged to work alongside each and every one of you here today and those who are not here today. And local government's hard, but it's also a really special place to be, as you can truly make a difference for everyone in our community. So, and on top of that, and just for present today, so thank you to Deputy Mayor Angela and Councillor Maxine for the present and the Deputy Chairmanship of this committee for a number of years. And it has been just wonderful being able to sit alongside you and help and guide and advise as best that I can. Sometimes I didn't have the answer, but that was never expected. So thank you. And to Deputy Mayor Paula, who's not here today, and the other elected members, and Sarah on the screen. So yeah, so thank you. You're up. Right, so I'm going to take the report as read. Noting that this is our first go at an activity report. I acknowledge it is a very long report, but we will be looking to refine that for the March committee meetings so that it is something that's regular and can add value to, not that it doesn't, but it's simple to read and has pictures and has data so that it's actually a consistent view of the operational activities that our teams do and deliver, that has been agreed to within this chamber, and so that they are visible, because they're often invisible. We see the capital programs and pictures, but we don't often see the operational programs happening in our community, which also complement what this council does. So I'll take any questions.
Thank
if
you.
there are any.
Right, Councillor Bidder.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Evelisa, can you rank the councillors from from good-looking down to Moko?
Show you what they're ranking?
All even.
Oh.
Yeah, all even. Everyone is special in their own right.
I'm special.
Sorry, there was a list too that came through just through email, so I'm going to go to Councillor Thompson. You were first on my list.
Hey, thanks, Chair, and thank you, Evelisa, for all that you've done for the city. And it's an amazing job that you and the team do to keep things going 24/7. So thank you for that. My question was just around the Lake Taupō water levels. There was mention that we're seeing very low water levels at the moment, and I'm wondering what those contingency measures might be that were mentioned.
So I'm just bringing Mari Porter to the table, Councillor Thompson, so she can answer that question in good detail.
Morena tātou. So with the low river contingency, obviously staff are monitoring the lake levels quite closely. We do have our low river contingency plan, which entails the platform that goes out into the river, and that's ready to deploy when it's needed, or if it's needed. Hopefully it won't. Hopefully the lake levels will remain high. All the staff have been trained in how to deploy that, so it is ready and able to be deployed. Impacts of deployment would likely be additional cost. So at the moment we have not budgeted for any deployment of the low river contingency, and there would be obviously some work programs that would probably need to be deferred while staff were diverted to undertaking the deployment.
Okay, thank you, and nice to see you again, Mari. I feel like it's been a long time.
Yeah, it has been.
And just trying to keep it high level, but I am wondering, like, what is the reason behind us seeing these low water levels? And is it something that we are more likely to see going forward on a more regular basis?
Yes, we expect with the effects of climate change that low levels in Lake Taupō are likely to occur more frequently. And so there is a long-term plan to look at how we can change our intake, but we have our low river contingency plan in the interim to make sure that we can continue to supply water to residents.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. I had next Councillor Donovan.
Thanks, Madam Chair. I've got a couple of questions, and I'm sort of rethinking them because I'm not sure how granular I can go down to.
I'd rather we didn't go down to granular, because that's the extent of the. But test one with me.
Well, the first one is more a bit of a data presentation, and it's a bugbear of mine that I've had before, and I've asked.
Oh, maybe we can take that offline if it's just the way staff are presenting a report.
Yeah, it just feels like I've asked for it several times and it's still not happening.
Tell me the page.
Page 227, and we get numbers presented as percentages.
Yeah.
And I just want to see like some actual quantums, like the physical number.
Okay, we'll take that offline because we can certainly help with that.
Yeah. And I think what I might do with my other ones is just think about them and maybe
Yep.
come back to you.
All right, no worries. Councillor Casey Cox?
I'm going to miss your facial expressions so much. They're the best. But and for a whole lot of reasons too. You bring so much knowledge to the team here, and just really acknowledge you and all that you've done. Yeah. Question around Project Watershed. I noticed there was some discussion around negotiating with our regional council about some potential extra resourcing there. I know that they are maybe not looking at the same kind of rates increase as us. So is there any work we could do to help that conversation?
I might actually defer to Fiona Sutton, who's our Head of Operations and Process, who's been working with Waikato Regional Council in relation to Project Watershed. She can probably provide more of an update about where those discussions are at the moment.
Thank you.
And while Fiona's coming up, I understand that in a previous council committee there was a resolution to have a member on a catchment committee. And so that is one of the forms of being able to influence at regional council I guess the direction from this committee and council.
Divvies out funding. Mayor Southgate has allocated the Chair of Finance to sit there. So that was a good measure.
Sadly,
Oh.
the next meeting clashes with our long-term plan November meeting. So unfortunately won't be able to attend in person, but will be keenly interested in the outcomes.
Kia ora everybody, through you, Madam Chair. Yes, we are having ongoing discussions with operational staff at Waikato Regional Council. They are committed to working together with us as much as possible to deliver great outcomes for our waterways. However, I guess they're in a constrained environment as well. We don't have anything concrete yet, but we will continue to report back on discussions to keep you updated of how things progress.
Okay, thank you.
Van Austin?
Oh, no.
Oh, no, sorry. Hang on. No, there's no point in me saying please the night before. Please send your questions through and then opening it up for everyone. That is unfair on those who were, yes. So I think we're done. Yes, he did.
Yeah, he did.
Yes, but
Everyone did.
he did. So if you have a burning question now, it's too late. Look, I'm really happy to refine any of the process around that, and I've just messaged Councillor Donovan to say thank you, Councillor Naidoo-Rolfe, to say feedback on reporting and is helpful, because I know that the staff are trying to rejig some things so that we get the right information without going into full discussions, because I personally feel workshops are the discussions and these are the decision making and the debate and those pointed questions. So with that, on page 221, and this is the staff recommendation which receives support, and notes that from 1 February next year, due to the national standardisation of materials for curbside collections, that we will only be able to collect those that are legislatively allowed for. So we're just noting that. So I will move that, seconded by Councillor Casey Cox. Don't feel the need to say anything. Councillor Casey Cox?
I just will quickly say, well, it was an awesome report. Amazing information, and I've really appreciated it. But also, just quickly, on I guess our relationship with the Regional Council and how we do resource some of these collaborative projects, because I'm pleased that Maxine's there to advocate, but I think that we don't always know all the ways in which we can influence those decisions at Regional Council as well. And through our relationships, and also recognising that, the things that we're doing in the Project Watershed space entails such an awesome return on any investment there because of the volunteers that are involved, through all of our gully projects. I mean, these are volunteers that are doing flood protection work effectively through the plantings and things that they're enabling in our gullies. So it's worth every cent that we put into that kind of work. So I look forward to some stronger advocacy together and through Max on those sorts of projects. Thank you.
Thank you. Mangai Hill.
Get the email, so tēnā koutou. Again, just to support the sentiments and acknowledge the report, having read through it, I thought it was very good, very detailed, and I just want to acknowledge the partnership not only with other stakeholders, volunteers, but also Mana Whenua and iwi. And in terms of the wellbeing space, it's and Eva Lisa in some indirect way, well actually some direct way, acknowledged that input, output, outcome, impact, and so featured throughout the report these acknowledgements of those wellbeings in that beautiful way. So just want to acknowledge the report. Well done, and tēnā koutou.
Kia ora, thank you. Right, let's just do that on the show of hands. All those in favour, please raise your hands. There are none opposed, that's carried, thank you. We will stop for morning tea before we will go into PX, but I just wanted to make a few comments as we move into PX. We will all be aware of the Chief Ombudsman and the commentary around councils and publicly excluded meetings. Just particularly for new members around the table, I wanted to ensure with you that any elected member when we get to this point, can challenge the veracity of the items that we are moving into or are being suggested to move into public excluded. So there's always a process there. And then if there is a challenge, then staff will respond to their reasons why. And you'll see also the list that is on the end of the public agenda with those items, and we can see that they are contracts. I can assure the public and the committee that governance, in my experience, are quite ruthless with this process, and they challenge and test when the reports come to them from the organisation and from staff. Should this or should this not be in public excluded? What is the threshold? So I think that those two forms of gatekeeper processes, one for the committee members and one for staff, are quite robust. So I'm confident that the process that this organisation takes and for this committee, because I'm closest to it, are robust and transparent. So with that being said, I will move that we move into public excluded. Thank you, Councillor Donovan. Seconded. All those in favour? There are none against. That's carried. And let's break from morning tea till 10 past because Angela bought ginger crunch. Wahoo. What did I just say? 10 past? Yeah.
That's on my